all of us are in a situation where we're living in the world where circumstances happening and happenings happen. We can't control the weather, the politics, the economy. But what we can control is how we think. Because I don't know about you, I love lists. I love to make this and write things and tick them off and make sure I'm approaching something and creating something of value. So we're definitely going to dive into that. Well, the concept of mindset mastery is really best described as if you think of yourself as a vehicle, as a car. We know, all of us adults know how to drive a car. Now, when you get in the car, the car works for you. You put petrol in the car, you put your foot on the pedal, and it takes you places, right? But sometimes we go a little too fast, or we maybe miss the turn, or we don't take it in to the garage for an inspection or an MOT, and the next thing you know, we're stuck on the side of the road. Not a pretty sight. And anyone knows when you have to call in the AA, it's very annoying and inconvenient. But sometimes we do that to ourselves. And if you just think about it, if you are the vehicle of your destiny and of your life, you've got to take care of the vehicle. And your mindset is really the driver of the car. And the mind has to drive you to where you want to go. Sometimes you need to go a little faster, sometimes you need to slow down. But it's part of mastering the art of driving. And there's certain things that we can do now, especially women in the couple of years we've all been through globally with the challenges as we've had, like women. I know a lot of friends and working women who've had to take on childcare or homeschooling. All of these extra levels of stress and anxiety have added more pressure. But at the end of the day, we still have our journey to take. And we want to figure out how we can make that journey far more efficient by getting in a car that works efficiently, that's serviced appropriately, and doesn't have any junk in the trunk that's weighing us down. But sometimes what happens is we don't get rid of the junk. We let passengers and backseat drivers dictate where we go, and we end up off-piste somewhere in the middle of where we didn't want to be. So how do we bring that back is remembering that we are in the driver's seat of our vehicle. And mastering these as skills is something that will last for life. These are lifestyle habits that we want to instill in you and give you some ways of thinking. It's not like a yo-yo diet that you just do it for a hot minute, the next minute you go back to your old way. Well, mindset is not just a pull yourself together and get some grit kind of an attitude. I mean, those are things that you develop in a process when you become strong. When your mindset is strong, it means you can overcome any challenge and you can achieve any goal because you know that it's achievable. You believe in possibility. You aren't thinking that you're lacking something. So what we want to do, it's like a muscle. Like if you go to the gym, nobody's going to decide to go to the gym and all of a sudden lift 200-pound weights. You'd hurt yourself, right? So the whole point is we want to build this muscle. Here's the thing is, as adults, I can probably guarantee that most of us are thinking a certain way based on either how we were raised, the culture we were raised in, the programming we were taught as kids, and we haven't questioned that programming. So here's another analogy. I love to think of how we approach mindset to how you look at a computer. The computer, which is your brain, which is, the hippocampus and the frontal lobes and how your brain is developed, is the hardware. But your mindset is the software. And I don't know about you, when I have a computer whose hard drive is full and the cache is going crazy and it slows down and it's not working, the software, the new upgrades are not working, the best thing to do is to reformat, to reset, and to start again. So think about today as a good reset. If you've never thought about what you've been thinking about, today's a great way to actually start to be more intentional and aware of the program that's running in the background. Now, a lot of this is subconscious that we're not even aware of. Another example, when you learn to ride a bicycle as a child, at first it was scary and you're like, Mom and Dad, don't let go of the back, and you feel wobbly and you can't quite get your balance. But now, after you've got used to it, it becomes muscle memory. And you're not even thinking about it. You just get on a bicycle. Nobody has to show you where to put your feet or how to balance you. That's exactly what mindset is to me. It's the idea of that you've become strong in your muscle, and your mind is the processing and decision making and the questions you ask yourself, as well as what you allow in to stay in and what you allow to go out. So for instance, if you were raised in an environment, maybe you come from poverty or you come from a bad parenting, a negative background that maybe wasn't as encouraging as you'd like, maybe it's built in you this incessant desire to please people, or being a perfectionist. I'll admit to that one. I had to give up my membership to Control Freaks Anonymous, and since then I'm so much happier. But really what it is allowing yourself to be more aware of what that programming is by taking the moment to think about what thoughts are in your mind, instead of just accepting whatever junk, whatever pop up, whatever spammy little thing that wants to come along and ruin your programming, because the idea is we want to get you working efficiently so that you can take every thought captive and say, hold on, this thought just popped in my head. Is this actually true? Or is this a lie? Is this something that's coming from somewhere else? Or is this something I want to believe? And here's the good news. You get to choose. You don't have to believe everything that comes in your head or everything that you've been told, as well as the past, because neuroscience and neuroplasticity proves that the brain is malleable. You can reform it. I mean, I'm finishing off my studies as a brain health coach, and we're looking at examples of people who've even had traumatic brain injuries. And, science is always updating itself, but so far the research is showing it's amazing that the brain heals itself. So the good news is, no matter what your background or your history has been, you can decide to take action today by using the pillars of mindset mastery, allow you to start getting that car working at efficiency. So instead of driving a jalopy that keeps patchworked and running out of gas and burning yourself out, before you actually blow a head gasket, let's get you in the garage, do a little work, and get you on a new set of wheels so you can feel like you're driving a Ferrari, not a Ford. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe. Hit the little bell button so you'll be the first to know when we release a new episode. Enjoy the rest of this episode at mimikacooney.com.